Edem will come and the rest. So please, let's sanitize the system. Let's sanitize the system. Otherwise, the anger. Look, when I, what do you call it? The last time, where in the course of the week, the Attorney General did a press conference on Wednesday, right? Thursday, when we were doing interviews, some lawyers called me. They were very angry about it. That's how come now Attorney General says you present all cases to the court, except that me, I'm also begging. You know, to every rule there's an exception. You can't send every case to court because you see, Zaato mentioned it. Some of the people, because they are very wealthy, if they offer you that, look, we want to bring back the money, even with interest, etc., you don't take it. When you go into court, the array of lawyers they'll get, good lawyers will get adjournment. Remember this law we are saying we should stipulate times. It doesn't appear we can do it in less than 3 months because we are yet to even get more citizens to push government, whole of society approach. So even effectively, it can take more than 6 months, etc. And it may even take, like I'm saying, more. So we don't have that in the bag. Yes. So if somebody would come today, say, okay, this case, I want to pay plus interest, etc. Look, Dr. Ine, let's take it. You can't take every case to court. The oral cases, you can't present all to court within 4 years. You can't.
Recoveries.
Yes,
that was the anchor of your work.
Yes, some of them we have to recover. Yes, they do 4-1. Let me quickly put this in context. They do 4-1, that they 60-40. Remember, there's an Attorney General's opinion where Godfred himself said Akufo Addo and Ofori Atta were engaged in illegality in the revocation of the Unibank license. You know, we have it on this, what do you call it here? We can read. The last time we read it, right? Yes. Akufo Addo and Ofori Atta were said to be engaged in illegality. The Deputy Attorney General at the time, and he was told to write an opinion. And he said the setting up of CBG was illegal, giving business operating permit within 1 day, etc. And even the revocation, the main thing, revoking the Unibank license was illegal. That's not what the Special Deposit Act, Banking and Special Deposit Act says. No, it's not the first option. It was totally wrong, very egregious. So in such a case, how are you going to prosecute and win? Let's not forget, that's the same thing Godfred did in the Ato Forson ambulance trial, where the Dubai company said, we want to pay. Their first offer was about 2 million euros. Yes. Godfred take this money. Then no. Who has asked them? We will not take that money.
The big C, yeah?
The big C. Not knowing, Godfred he himself said it on tape that actually the reason he was continuing with the trial was a political persecution, a witch hunt that Akufo Addo and Ofori Atta had asked him to get Ato Forson convicted by hook or by crook.
The investigations were necessary because the oral committee reports did not contain the evidence required to prove the guilt of the suspects in court beyond reasonable doubt. It is always important to remember that the oral committee was tasked by His Excellency the President to receive complaints of looting of state resources, and complaints do not constitute irrefutable evidence of criminality. Our investigators have diligently concluded investigations in the following cases: the SkyTrain, National Service Ghost Name Scandal, District Road Improvement Project or DRIP, National Lóoters, Palgo Multipurpose Dam, SML, Frontier Healthcare Services, Free Wi-Fi, National Ambulance, Boankra Integrated Inland Logistics Terminal, Sputnik V vaccines case, and the land looting cases. In the case of the land looting cases, 8 have been completed and then 1 is outstanding. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me give you a sense of what pertains. When the dockets are brought to my office, and the latest set of dockets were brought 2 weeks ago, I go through them diligently with the prosecution staff, the attorneys in the prosecution division, and other lawyers we work with, and then we can build a case and advise the investigators as to what to do when we find loopholes that may be exploited by defense attorneys. So I want to give 2 examples. In the case of the Boankra Integrated Inland Logistics Terminal, the report has been returned to my office. We have done our reading of the report and analysis of it, And we've come to the conclusion that there is a need for us to have a value for money audit, because that is the only way by which will determine the extent to which there was malfeasance relating to the finances of the project.
The Attorney General there giving details of a number of cases so far that are under investigation, those that are on trial, and then also those that the cases have actually been concluded. And this is the picture that he painted. And some of the cases were not even captured in the oral report. I bet it, that the National Signals Bureau, this case, Kpebu, you're a member of the oral preparatory team. Yes. Was it captured in your report, the National Signals Bureau?
No, that one, Dr. Ayini says Raymond Acha did it personally. Yes, okay, he said it publicly that it's Raymond Acha, Yoku boss, who did it personally.
Great. So it's the NSS was captured.
Yeah. Yes.
And then
yes.
SkyTrain.
Yes. Yes.
Good. So there are 3 cases in trial. 2 out of the
but Raymond Acha is a
member of ORAL.
He's ORAL, so
you're
value
just
is the same.
Right. But it wasn't captured in there. Yeah. I just wanted to establish
yes.
that. But then again, so there are 3 cases in trial now. That's the NSS, SkyTrain, and then also you have the National Signals Bureau. It says that yesterday.
And Akunta Mining,
Akunta Mining, yes, was part of it.
Yes.
In your oral report.
But I'm chief crusader against Akunta Mining, so Akunta Mining couldn't have escaped.
Absolutely. Yes. He announced 17 cases. He ran through quite a lengthy one. Investigations have been concluded in 10 of them. There are 4 cases under investigation as we speak. But he says this is work in progress. But this is the verdict that he put on your work as oral preparatory team. He says that the report you presented lacked evidence beyond reasonable doubt. Why so? Because these are criminal cases. The threshold for establishing guilt, as it were, or investigating criminal cases is beyond, or it must be beyond reasonable doubt. And so the report that you presented lacked this very essential ingredient for criminal cases, that the evidence must indeed be beyond reasonable doubt. Is it a fair verdict on your work as the oral preparatory team?
Yes, but it's, yes. I mean, just speaking straight talk. Yes, but it's not a negative verdict. It's not negative. Even there is a part of the speech, maybe you can let your producers look for it and bring, where he said that the mandate was limited.
In fact, it's in.
Yes, the mandate was limited. So when you read the 2 together, no, he couldn't have been. Yes, he can criticize ORAL on other aspects, but this particular one, he wasn't.
I don't think this was meant to criticize.
Exactly, that's why I said so. It's not negative. He was just describing the state of affairs. Like, you see, let's not forget that. You see, we are doing a whole of government approach in governance now. A whole of the nation, okay, a whole of the nation approach. So when you're doing something, you carry the citizens along. What led to this ORAL team? President Mahama said that as soon as he won, people were inundating him with reports. He couldn't cope. Naturally, you know, it's why he might be 1 or 2 phones. He couldn't cope. So quickly, he thought that, no, why don't I set up a committee to receive these complaints, document them in an orderly fashion, so that when I take over, these reports will be given to the Attorney General, who will then distribute, you know, because Attorney General cannot prosecute corruption cases. He has to give over to the OSP, etc. When it's if it is money laundering, it has to go to Yoko, etc. Right? So the president said he had to do that, and that's a master stroke. It was a high watermark decision. High watermark decision, because people inundating him. So if he didn't do anything, then it will show that he's tone deaf. But he got an idea. Why don't I get some citizens to sit and get some staff to collect and collate these reports? You see, so that's why Dr. Ayini himself said that ORAL couldn't have done forensic investigations. ORAL couldn't have done detailed ones.
Right.
So we receive reports, and then for some of the reports, if we had other publicly available information, we put all these together to make the story, you know, a bit comprehensive, readable,
right.
and so to ginger investigation. So I don't see Dr. Ayine as saying something negative about ORAL. He was just reminding citizens that what ORAL did is not investigations to produce a docket that will take you into court.
Well, there are some of the view that
Yes.
if that's all you did, then really it was a waste of time, because there are other institutions who could have been receiving these complaints. Why set up a committee for that
Good.
matter?
Those institutions always existed. Yet the fact that they were going to the president-elect tells you that at least citizens had lost hope, okay, and faith in these institutions. And it happens because a lot of those institutions couldn't assert themselves.
Shraj.
You remember, yes, Shraj, OSP,
CID.
CID. CID, I always
Yoko.
mentioned Madam, they say, what do you call her? Forson Adorye, COP, and Dampari, you know, week in, week. Yes, all of them. They didn't assert themselves. Akufo Addo was the clearing agent, so he muscled them. You remember here, Akunta Mining, we present, thank God, Edem is here.
Let me introduce at this point, Edem Senano is the co-chair of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption. He's going to be wearing two hats this morning. But
Good.
Mr. Senano, good morning. Welcome.
So Edem Senano sitting by me here, he and I, Ken Ofori Atta, and then Dr. Kwame Sapon presented the petition on this Akunta Mining to a CID boss, Forson Adorye. October 2022. October 2022. Then and then about 3 days later, the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining, led by Ken Ofori, though he was part of us, he also led his group to present another petition to IG. So two petitions, one to CID boss, 3 or 4 days later, another to IG himself. So two petitions, and they were consolidated, that's put together, because IG Dampari referred it to Adorye. Then Adorye got investigators, Godwin Ponyo, Superintendent Inkum, etc. I think there was a third one. These, so long and short, we all know this investigation that was in rocket science, because we even attached the pen drives that showed the distraction to the Tano Nimri Forest, etc. Right. Yet Adorye and IG Dampari made sure that this case didn't go to court. They were pussyfooting, kukwasa, sa, and then you see how it helped to kick out the Akufo Addo administration. So a lot of Ghanaians had lost faith in this institution. So they said, no, JM is coming. Let's go and give our petitions to JM. You can't fault them. You can't fault them. They saw those institutions and chose to go to JM. And when we opened the oral lines, you see, over 2,500 complaints. And then we did those that we could do within that limited time. So that decision, look, trust me, you know, but since this government took over, if they did things that are not right, I disagree. You remember, as soon as the president came, this asset declaration law, when you gave an extension for appointees to fill the declaration, I said no. Under Article 284, he doesn't have such a mandate. He doesn't have the power to extend, because the law says that the appointee must fill before entering the office. You know, a number of things. Bank of Ghana, the invading the home, the arrest warrant. I spoke against government 3 weeks ago. This Albert Dana Lababore, and then this one, what do you call him? The Gift to Owari's case, Abronye's case. We can mention. So I'm the same person. So what I'm telling you that if it is wrong, I mean, my estimation, remember, I have limited knowledge. Yes. So if only I see it wrong, I'll say it. Okay. And I'm sure I'll continue to occupy this seat, because at least I've been that objective. I'm sure if I were pandering to NDC lines, by now you would have removed me and you will find a more credible candidate. So please, it's not lost on me. As for the decision of the president to create ORAL, is high watermark. We filled in the vacuum at that time. Remember, when citizens are supporting you, it's only for a while. If they support you and you are not responding, if they find that you are tone deaf, they withdraw. And then you find it difficult to get them to rally behind you. So that's the president's stellar decision that no, let me carry the citizens along, even though I don't have office. And we did it. Yeah, I saw it somewhere. Bafwe said it was a waste of state resources. The MP,
yes.
Lawyer. I said, but where we didn't take 1 Ghana cedis of government money. 1 Ghana cedis, not even fuel.
With all your work on oral,
not even water from government.
No payment from government.
No, we didn't. But you think we are foolish?
No. I mean, council.
I mean, when I say, sorry, let me withdraw.
Yeah.
We are wiser than that. I know that this seat, if I took 1 Ghana, even 1 Ghana, the rest of no, I'm a bit smarter than that. I won't. Small money, you won't get me. I won't take because you pay a high price. Then it better be money that will change my life forever. But I mean, come on. Yes, I go and take like 100,000, 200,000. No, me. I may not have it to spend like that, but I won't take. You have to take transformational money. The one so like Bawumia said he would transform the economy.
All the members of the committee didn't take any.
1 Ghana cedi. Remember at the time it was formed, ORAL were appointed on the 18th of December. President Mahama was president-elect. He was not in office. Then he came into office. We handed over on the 10th of February. I'm telling you that even water from government, no. Water, a bottle of water from government, no. We are smarter than that. You know, as nation expect sacrifice, and we understood it. So the first day we met, we said, no, nobody is taking anything. Okay. Citizens are expecting sacrifice because.
So how about the other person who works with you?
It's very clear that politics pays more than a lot of jobs. It's the most lucrative. Political appointment is far more lucrative than going into industry. So, and citizens don't like it. So, it was very clear to me that if we took 1 Ghana and we all added them, within 1 minute, we're done. I said, gentlemen, are we clear that nobody's going to take anything? Yeah, within a minute. That thing was shelled. That was, yes. Finished.
How about the other persons who worked with you? No.
All of them, sacrifices.
I see.
Yes, lawyers, okay? Yes, a whole lot of them. They are here. Lawyers and law students. Some of them have since, Kabute and Co have since graduated. Okay? Adanuti Noah and the other lawyers. Many. They all helped. Sacrifice. Sleepless nights.
You mean Kabunate?
Kabunati, yeah, he just graduated. Yes.
Okay, great.
Okay.
I see. Dr. Zaato, on this, it's going to be a graduated conversation. The verdict on oral, you've heard that from a member of the preparatory team, was not a waste of resources. It came in to fill a very critical gap at that time to ensure that people have the confidence to come up with information. The Attorney General is working on it, albeit, it says, in a slow but very effective pace.
Thank you very much. First, I just want to say something. I'm quoting the Deputy Attorney General, said, Oral's 21 billion recovery figure not supported by evidence. That's something that the Deputy Attorney General is alleged to have said that it wasn't, okay? And then I have another statement here. Oral data included garbage, entries collected without verification. That is all coming from a member of what? Oral. Telling us that the information they collected is garbage, is crap, and that, or some of the information, and that Oral's 20 billion recovery not supported by evidence. I want to situate my presentation based on these 2 fundamental things. Look, I have a theory that I've passed and I've said it here. I believe in accountability, and I believe in regime accountability and post-regime accountability. I believe that if a government in power, either through your actions or inactions, willfully or unlawfully, refuse to hold your own people to account for office, that is regime accountability. That the next government that comes has every right and must use every legitimate means to hold those people accountable. At the end of the day, so long as there's accountability, at the end of the day, so long as we are telling people that if you raise your hand and swear an oath to occupy a public office, there is a day you will be held accountable. And when that day comes, so long as your fundamental human rights are protected, and so long as the presumptions of innocence, all those basic things, so long as they are respected, you will never see me come and sit here and try to justify to somebody for what they have not done. No. Let the law take its course, let the people's right be respected, let it go there. I want to say that. And at the end of the day, my belief too is that let the courts, and not a politician, decide the fate of the people that are signed.
Okay.
I believe in those things. Then that is what brought me to this issue. Oral, even if we cannot get the 20 billion or whatever it is, Oral get money. People are being prosecuted, I have no problem with that. But here's where I have the problem, or here's where I have the issue. When this Attorney General came in, he issued up to 6 or 5 no-law prosecutors. Prosecutor. Oh, thank you. Prosecutors, thank you.
Prosecutor.
He issued them.
Yeah.
I call those sweetheart deals to all those who got the NOLA prosecutors were members of the NDC. The government did not allow a court of competent jurisdiction to determine this person's guilt or innocence. No. They denied a court that decision. And those were made by a politician and they benefited a politician. They were made by an NDC Attorney General and they benefited former and current NDC officials. Sweetheart deals. If you add the money, the total money in all these knowledge prosecute cases, they will be equal to almost equal to, or they will be almost close to what the money oral was supposed to get. That is money now flushed down the toilet. These people also bought properties, plenty properties. These people also made investment. We've now told them our government has come, Abai Papa Aba, and because Abai Papa has go chop the money, spend the money. Your freedom is there. Do whatever you want with that money. We'll drop the cases for you. But now we are chasing another money that we say people have stolen. Imagine in a fair country. Imagine we had a minister of justice, who says, look, even though you are my party member, even though we are in the same party, I will let the courts determine your fate. I will let the courts determine whether you are guilty or not. Let the courts do that. Meanwhile, I will also and chase these ones. Imagine we collected both monies. Imagine in a just world, we collected the money of the 7 or 5 or knowledge prosecutor cases, and then we also chased these people and collected all their money. We'll be rich. We could easily fund Big Push. We could easily establish the Women Development Bank. We could easily pay cocoa farmers the 6,000 we promised them. We could easily do almost all the transformational things that this government has promised. My point is, why do you tell some group of people who are all your political friends keep the money that you are alleged to have stolen? And in almost all the cases, you made something. Is it presumption of
innocence? Yes.
No, where you get to in the court and the Attorney General has made this case. Prima facie has been established and they've opened their cases. That means that the courts have determined that there were questions to be answered. Not a human being. You could say the case was weak, the case agree. In the ambulance case, in the cocoa board case, the snake case. Okay, good. But I'm saying that in some of the cases, in the cases, they have passed that stage where the court has found that the evidence provided that the people should open their defense, right? They have passed that stage. My point is, where is the hurry? Why don't you let the court? So you left, so imagine all the money, let's say it was 50 billion that those people were alleged to have stolen, and then it's $50 billion here, 50 billion. You are saying these people keep the $50 billion. Chop it, do whatever you want it. But I will now start chasing this $50 billion. I think it's unethical and I think it's fair. And a minister of justice must seem to be doing justice to all right now. He says you're only doing justice to indecent people, indecent friends, but injustice to people that you perceive to political opponents. Now, there's something that I completely agree with Martin. That in doing these cases, we should also look for retrieval, not necessarily convictions. Yeah. And my benchmark will be, that is why I completely disagree with the 60-40 with the Unibank case. My fundamental starting process is this. You are allowed to have stolen this one. 1, pay all the money. 2, with interest. That's where I'll start the negotiations from. I'll tell the Attorney General, if I could advise you, look, pay all the money first. If you are alleged to have stolen $2 million, you pay it first with at least 10% interest. Okay. Once we have all this money, then we can talk. I will go for that because, as we've seen, in 2028, NDC loses power, they make me Attorney General. Okay, they won't make me because I'm not a lawyer, right? And then I come and say, hey, all of you are my friends, let's share the money and you go home. What happens? The state keeps losing. And there's something. These accused people are smart, they are intelligent, and they have money, and they can hire the best lawyers in this country. The best lawyers money can buy, like the Kpebus. Some of us, we cannot afford the Kpebus. They can afford the Kpebus. They can afford the best lawyers. And these lawyers know the system. They can play the system out. And that's why we've seen that a case stays in court for almost 8-7 years. It's because of the brilliance and intelligence of defense attorneys. Assuming we do that, if we put the retrieval on the board and say, do this, then it will also help. So that they don't lose. The president also did something this week that I want to applaud him for. You said I'm always, but I'm not. Setting up the special course to retrieve the monies from the auditor generals. Mm-hmm. Smart idea, brilliant idea, wonderful. I completely agree with that. That is how we begin to bring people to accountability. Let it be done. But also, Mr. President, I think we should structure it in a way like this. Once again, get the money. Mm-hmm. If you are a chief executive or whatever you are, and you say you've stolen this money, let's get the money with interest first. Then secondly, there must be something punitive. And the punitive is that if you were a chief director, let's drop you by a point or two. You achieve all of a sudden you are now a manager. We've taken the money, we've taken this and then do that. If we do these things, we'll begin to improve our public governance. These are the things we need to do to make sure that how we govern the country and that we don't give opportunity for people to loot this country and hide it somewhere. We must seem to be fair.
Mezano, master stroke, oral?
Well, yes, I think I was probably one of the first. Thank you. I think I was probably one of the first to say that I thought it was brilliant. And I said so on the back of the Afrobarometer data, which had shown that this is 2022-2023, which showed that over 30% of Ghanaians said they were unwilling to report corruption for two reasons. First reason was they anticipated victimization or retaliation. In other words, their biodata would be released, and so persons who ought not to know, including those who they were reporting, would then attack them. So that was one reason they would not report. And the second was because they thought nothing would change. Now, the brilliance of ORAL for me was in the composition of the committee. That the persons who had been put on the committee are persons who are known to have handled data over the years of sources of information without leaking who told them the information. So whether it was Martin, or whether it was Samuel Blakwa, or whether it was Kofi Boakye, these are persons known within the anti-corruption space who have taken cases, handled them, yet their sources had not come out. So if you put that list of names there and say, go and report to them and say, this ones, I'm sure they will not leak my information or who I am. So I have the confidence to go and report. So I felt from being part of the analysis of Afrobarometer data that the character of the persons there would help that. But not just that. These are persons who had produced results over the years. Whether it is Martin or whether it was Sammy, they've picked cases, and we have seen that in the beginning people may have doubted them. But at the end of the day, they were right. We got results. And so clearly, citizens will have a lot more confidence to say, reporting to these people, I am sure my identity won't go out. And at the end of the day, there are likely to be results. And I think for me, that's where I saw ORAL as being brilliant. It will not take away, and I'm trying to build on Martin's point, it will not change the fact that some persons may already have confidence in some of the institutions. So Tribe will still have been receiving some reports. OSP, by virtue of who is there and their confidence. So they were already receiving some reports. But I thought this was a unique platform. And I think we should keep it. You know, I align with him when he says that, look, part of the accountability measurement or measures, mechanisms in this country is when you have finished your tenure of government, anticipate and expect an oral. Anticipate and expect that there will be an attorney general who is going to pick up all those cases and go to court. It is because during your tenure, we may not have had the time to put a microscope to what you are doing.
So oral is a good precedent.
It's a good precedent. And let's stop calling all of this witch hunting. I think those who are in leadership should not just enjoy the perks and privileges and think that at the end of the day, that's it. After your perks and privileges, there's time for accountability. You should man up and be willing and ready to be accountable and allow people, whether it's going to be by oral and then an AG and going to court, just come and speak to it. So keep your data, make sure that you are ready to defend any actions you take. Don't all of a sudden then you want to disappear from jurisdiction and we can't find you. Things like that doesn't work for us.
Are you talking about Ken Ofori Atta?
Well, yes, I'm alluding to certain people. But I think that that's important. I also think that absolutely there are a number of things that are coming up that build on what we've been doing so far. The president's decision to have special courts, I think is fantastic. I wish we had many more such special courts where these issues can come up and be heard on a daily basis. Special courts, not just in terms of mechanization, because we've tried that, it didn't work. We said it would be fast track, it didn't produce the results. But special courts with new court rules that say these courts will sit daily, that also have capacity building for the judges, for the prosecutors, so they understand the anti-corruption terrain. When the cases come, they will not look at a video that clearly somebody is saying, I gave you money, you didn't vote for me, and then they say this video is of no consequence and therefore we throw it out. No, that kind of thing ought not to happen. So in my view, I don't think, let's remember that the terms of reference for the oral team, they don't include go and investigate and produce. That was not it. So I think the languaging also, sometimes we need to be cautious. Maybe the AG meant to communicate one thing, but has been understood differently.
No, I played the full complement of it. I think the context is quite clear.
Yeah.
It was not meant to
in any way to demean or...
He was quite careful in the choice of words, and he explained why.
I think oral achieved its purpose by raking in the evidence, and we are at the moment we are seeing the results. So let's not begin to suggest that it was an exercise in futility. Plus, I'm glad Martin has pointed out that they didn't take a peswa. That I think must be commended over and over again. Anytime we have opportunity, let's commend that team for doing what they did. And for me, it should be institutionalized. So every group that comes into government will know immediately after there will be an oral. I used to say oral hygiene is good for everybody. There will be an oral, and we'll use that data. It will be investigated. I have been saying let's give the AGs time, just as we should give the OSP time. When it comes to the fundamental rights and freedoms of citizens, let's not be in a rush to say, hurry up and go to court. Allow them to do thorough investigations so that we don't breach or infringe on anybody's rights. But at the end of the day, those who should be held accountable should be held accountable.
But does that not also, although commended, yes, oral, but that also present a challenge that you have to wait till the end of a tenure to demand accountability when there are institutions that are to ensure, they've been mandated to ensure continuous accountability within the administration's period or the tenure, not after, so that I don't have confidence to go to Shraj or OSP, CID, IOCO to report an issue. I have to wait until after 4 years. What's the guarantee that you will even get the people and they will not be out of the jurisdiction and others, as we are seeing? I
think that just demonstrates the need we have to strengthen. For example, we've talked about the Conduct of Public Officers Bill. That should be passed. There are many cases where, especially dealing with public officers, you go to court, and because they are not clear sanctions regime, we just go round. It's as if you're a public officer, nothing can be done against you. There are certain aspects of our legal regime that need to be strengthened, and that's why we are struggling at the moment. If our internal audit systems, for example, were working, many of the things we are seeing as financial irregularity shouldn't come up. Again, it's a weakness of the internal audit system to the extent of then we get to audit recommendation, implementation committees that are doing nothing. The follow-ups don't happen. So there are those issues that we need to confront up front and say, these parts of our systems are not working. If internal audit was working, trust me, a lot of the issues we are contending with would not happen. But internal audit raises the issues. What are the sanctions that should be applied? How speedily are those sanctions applied? Otherwise, at the end of the day, we have a whole machinery in place, but we're not getting the results. So you're absolutely right. The COPO needs to be done. We need to strengthen some of the areas, illicit enrichment, reverse bidding, those things are there. But internal audit, and as it leads to making sure that they are sanctioned. And that's why the president's idea of a special court on audit issues, for me, makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense.
So because then the Auditor General's work is on a yearly basis.
Absolutely.
So then we don't have to wait till after 4 years. But imagine, Malaba, if we had to even get the Auditor General's report subjected to forensic auditing, that would even uncover more than what we're even crying about when we see in the Auditor General's report, is it not?
Which is what the AG demonstrated. I think one of the cases he said he had asked for a forensic audit, and then the data, and I thought that was excellent.
Yes. So it ballooned from about 6 million to 2.2 million.
Exactly.
543.
Exactly.
2.2 billion.
And I thought it was a good way of deploying other agencies, because then the work that the lawyers need to do when they go to court is less, because the evidence is skunk. So that I thought was a very smart move. That look, let's get other agencies to pull out the evidence in a stronger way. That then you don't have to now do a lot of running about to then make sure the evidence.
So you would recommend another layer of auditing beyond the Auditor General's report or the Auditor General's auditing. There has to be forensic auditing.
And I think they just need a checklist. That you can't do that for everything. You need to look at what cases maybe have a certain threshold and say that this one merits deploying additional, resources to get. Let's not attempt to do it for everything. So select based on some criteria so that additional work can be done.
Oral work, waste of time, or indeed coming to fill that particular void that Martin Kpebu talks about. Dr. Zaato is of the view that, look, if this was an approach taking, then why do you deliver a certain form of freedom to others by instituting nolle prosequis or as it were, deciding to discontinue some cases of persons associated with your party and then pursuing others who are outside of your party?
You know, one of the issues that came up during the last election was fighting corruption. Because we got to this point where each other day, and sometimes people will say each other week, we had acts of corruption or scandals breaking. And today, there are people who are still wondering how a government can be in place for 9 months and there's no scandal. Because they had gotten used to the scandals in the last administration such that they thought corruption scandals were a necessary byproduct of governance. So we had gotten to a point that we were beginning to even become used to the corrupt practices of the other regime. So it was important that, having won the elections, the president would put together this oral team. And you asked a question that why didn't they send them to state institutions? That was not possible because at the time that the president set up this oral team, people who were manning those institutions were appointees of the previous administration. And you heard Martin give you his experience of how they also colluded in perpetrating the corrupt practices. So it was not possible for the president to say that, send your report to the police, send your report to the IOCO. It was good that he did what he did. Now, when Domelovo indicated that garbage was received, what he meant simply was that, and because I was with him on a program last Thursday, what he meant was that they were just a receptacle of the oral information, of complaints. They were not duty bound because per the terms of reference, they were not duty bound to as it were, sift the issues. So he didn't mean that garbage was thrown at them. But what he meant was that as a receptacle, everybody could bring information to them, but because they had no opportunity or they didn't have the requirement to look into those matters, what they did was to hand over entire processes to the Attorney General. Now, the Attorney General, in explaining away, and I think this was to explain to those who kept saying that the Attorney General was delaying in prosecuting, delaying in prosecuting. That part of his press conference was to tell people that we needed to do some further investigations into the matters so that at the end of the day, when I'm going to court, I'll have evidence that can stand the test of time. So those saying that I was delaying, I wasn't delaying. I was actually working behind the scene, and I am now done, and he has told you the number of cases that are now ready to go to court. So that, for me, is to explain away those who were saying that they were delaying. But has oral done us good or bad? It has. Because even me, when I wasn't even a member of the oral team, I heard people called me to say they have this evidence here, they have this evidence there. In fact, one of them even said that, why can't they replicate oral in their regions? And I remember I called Okujeto, and Okujeto said that no, what they would rather do is to have an email address, so that if you have, you can send it through their email address. I'm sure Martin is aware of how you receive some information there. Yes.
And we went to Tamale.
So, exactly. And that call actually came from Tamale to me. So I am of the view that what oral has done has saved this country. Look at what is happening at Bufferstock.
We'll get there. That's the second part of the conversation.
Yeah,
you get the point.
Bonnie and Clyde. Husband and wife. You know,
So
Bonnie and Clyde.
the Attorney General's press conference on was it on Wednesday or Tuesday? Wednesday was clearly to bring along the people of this country, carry them along, ensure that they are aware of what is happening. That's why he said he was going to report to the sovereign people of this country. And so it is about accountability. Good governance requires that you carry the people along. And that's what Attorney General did, and I agree with him.
Okay. Well, on the matter of patience, which you referenced, he also addressed that part of it, that he wants to, in this way his view, the aim is to have watertight prosecutions so that he doesn't go to court. And knowing him, you've been consistent that knowing Dr. Dominic Ayine, he would want to cross the T's, dot the I's, make sure that when he's going to court, he doesn't like to lose, right? So he wants to take his time to do this. But that also comes at a time when the sentiment is that, look, it's been over 9 months now. If oral was a pregnant promise, it should have delivered some prosecution by now. 9 months on.
Okay.
Right? But this is what he said. I want to take a listen to him and then we'll conclude on that point. Take a look.
Be specific. If you miss the element of specificity, your case will be thrown out. And that is why I keep urging Ghanaians to be patient, because we need diligent investigation so that when I send a case to court, we don't have any doubt that criminality has occurred. So, ladies and gentlemen, prosecutions have commenced in the SkyTrain and National Service scandals.
Well, so that's the Attorney General on this matter of patience.
Yeah, good. And it's good he referenced citizens to be patient, because we are doing a whole of society approach in governance, a whole of society. So government, private sector, civil society, all of us joining together to fight corruption. So he sees that, yes, the populace, citizens were a very important component of the fight. So where we seem to be running ahead of him too much, he needs to, remind us to be a bit patient, because there has to be due process. So it's a very key call, or a very important call in the whole of society approach, or its other cousin, the whole of government or nation approach. So, you can't do, remember that ORAL is citizens who brought information to the ORAL committee. Citizens have to cooperate. If you don't have citizens, you don't have a nation, So he's saying that, yes, you are very important, but it appears your speed is way more than can be accommodated. So let's put it in perspective so that we'll see how we citizens can accommodate the government. And that's important. Nowadays, I like referring to this popular example because, Ghanaians love football. And so they would always want to, if you use a football example, you'll get a good people to understand. The party case, in the Black Stars. Oh, and before I continue, please, look, the Coach Ato Addo, he should send just the players who qualify that. So don't go and bring any foreign players.
I think that's very clear.
Yes, we don't want any players to come and join. Those who fought, let them go. Obi, friends say, all right, the people who fought, the players who fought and took us to the World Cup, let them go and play. Let's just do this. We are tired of people sitting aside when it's cooked, then they want to come and eat. Well, we'll come to that. Right. So, Patty, the Black Star player, we all know that he has a case, allegations of rape, etc. See how many years it took to investigate. And even when the case was brought to court this year, they've not started the trial. They will start sometime next year. So you see due process. Due process, very important. But you see the call that the Attorney General makes, so it brings the other side of the coin. Which other side is that? The elephant in the room is that we need a new law to stipulate how long these criminal cases will take. A few minutes ago, I'm happy that them is here. And that's how Domlevo will be joining us. And it's good that Domlevo has reignited that debate, because he started it about 3 weeks ago when he did an interview with KSM. Then Joy FM took him. I've heard them on it. And Zaato has also referred to it indirectly, because you see that Zaato is not happy, and he reflects the sentiments of a large chunk of our people about the nollie prosequis. And I also even stated it when Dr. Ayine entered the nollie prosequis. I said that for Collins Dalbert's case, the Sagleme one, let's do a forensic audit, have to see an evaluation. Have we gotten value for money If not, if some people are due us money, they should return it. So, Dr. Ayine, we are reminding you, and I said it, that we'll keep reminding you, after the Saglame case, it's not dead. It cannot be dead. Otherwise, someday when you leave office, I'll be championing that we'll revisit Saglame. As long as I live, Saglame will have to revisit it. So, Dr. Ayine, it's good that you set up a committee now, independent, bring a lot of us, civil society, to come in and watch for ourselves. Then we can tell citizens what we saw. Let's get to the bottom of the Saglame case. Okay. That 280 million or so cannot go like that. We want to see. Let's do evaluation.
The houses are still there, by the way.
Yes, so we want to see that we get value for money. Is that all of the money that's in there? Of course, when we say in there, not only the fiscal one, but also what they've paid to their contractors. So the point is that we need a law that will say that when you start the trial today, finish in 6 months, 1 year, etc. We don't have enough time to go into all of that. I see Adam corroborating it. Yeah. But we agree that we need that certainty. We say we are doing a whole of society approach in governance. So if you are doing a whole of society approach, you see that citizens are not happy about the nolly prosecutions, the withdrawals, etc. And you see, don't underestimate Ghanaians. The way there's still anger around it, don't think that it's just an NPP matter. No. I've seen that this nation is very strong. The way this, when Zaato spoke, he was speaking even to people in NDC. It's not just NPP. For this one, I agree with Zaato that the nolly prosecutor thing, maybe we could have handled it differently. And so we need to do things around it. Otherwise, look, trust me, this thing can become a big election issue. The way NPP is beating this nolly prosecutor matter, it's going to become a big election because you see how Zaato said it, and you see we couldn't counter. I said, look, Dr. Ayine, you've lost moral grounds because you freed some people and then now you seek to prosecute others. I think that for the cases that have issues, especially the Collins that matter, the Saglem one, let's go into it. As for the, Ato Forson ambulance trial, we all know that it was prosecutorial misconduct, unethical. Our law doesn't allow the Attorney General to use the criminal justice system to persecute people, political opponents. In the tape, you hear Godfred say that it's Akufo Addo and Ofori Atta who are on his neck, that he should get Ato Forson convicted so that there will be a by-election, etc. But the main point we're answering is that Dr. Ayine says citizens should slow down a bit. Right. And we are saying that, and Domlevo will join to make his point, that let's have a new law. In America, they call it Fair Trial Act. India also have it. The UK also have it. And many other countries. So they will stipulate that for this and this category of offenses, you must finish within 6 months. For this other one, it's 1 year. We need that badly.
So to cure what has been described as the unnecessary adjournments of cases?
Excellent.
So that you have a specific period, 6 months, complete this case.
Yes. And the judges will uphold it. The judges will uphold, because once it's a law, it will come with consequences for the judge who is seized with the case. The judge knows that if he doesn't keep the timeline, his job is on the line. His job, I know now with the removal of a CJ, it sends a signal that citizens are wild, citizens are getting more engaged, citizens are becoming savvier. So once they know the law, and we even did it. We did it, the election petition law. Absolutely. We changed it in election 2012. It took us about 9 months. And that particular year, that was JM's first photo term. That whole year, it crippled the economy because investors didn't know how we would come out. Investors were scared we would fight. But this country, it should be clear, the way we are so intermarried, very mixed. How are we going to fight? Because me sitting here like this, if I mention my tribes, I'll mention like 4, 5. Yeah, very, very mixed. How are you going to fight at them? Or how am I going to fight Zaato? No. So let's make a law. Let the law be passed, just like we did for the election petition. So you see that in 2020, the law said we should use 42 days. We exceeded it by about 2 or 3 days. 3 days, right? Yeah, we exceeded, and that was good. So we've done it. We've experimented it with election petitions. Let's roll it out to cover other offenses. Because the way I feel it, the last election, I keep saying that it doesn't appear we've understood the consequences of the last election. There's still a lot of anger among citizens. There's still a lot of anger. So we pray government to manage this anger well. Otherwise, it can explode. Because you see, what is becoming clear to us is that oh, political office pays far more than trying to work diligently. Okay, because in the last regime, you see the series of Bonnie and Clyde, Edubuahi and wife, Abdul Hanan and wife, etc., Gift to Warrior and husband. So it's a series of Bonnie and Clyde. Viewers, you may Google Bonnie and Clyde. They were a notorious couple in the US. They were involved in bank robberies, etc. I'm not saying these people have been convicted. What I'm talking about is that you see that trend, husband and wife, husband and wife. You see how it's degenerating. So with the anger in the system, if we don't hurry up and pass all these laws, look, this thing could boomerang into our faces because there's anger. Because citizens feel like, at the night, like we are mates. Another of our mates will enter political office within 4 years. You see a string of
less
properties.
Than that, actually.
Yes, some even less than 4 years. You see a string of properties that you work for 30 years or 35 years. You will never acquire that. How? So it tells you that politicians are chopping our money too much. And that anger, if we don't solve it,
It's a word to the wise. Eh? It's a very important sermon for the morning. Yeah. That should sink in because the many who looked at the outcome of the elections, looked at the Fourth Republic where we are now. You juxtapose the despondency that was in the system with the outcome, and when you speak to a lot of young people, there's been quite a number of surveys that you have young people then responding to whether or not military
intervention. And they said they like
this, and see how the Burkina Faso leader got that kind of rousing applause and welcome. All of those things send signals.
Yes, and recently President Mahama even referenced it when the Goodluck Jonathan did this, and they held some democracy dialogue about 2 months ago, sometime I guess or September. Conference center. Conference center. I went there. I was given a ticket. I went there, and then President Mahama came and gave a speech, and he referred to Ibrahim Traore's popularity. That you see, citizens want to see that selflessness, that vision. You see. So if we don't get on board like that, the way there's despondency, because we need to create jobs. Like I keep saying, look, we have so much agricultural land, and yet we are hungry. Look at cost of living. And Zaato, by the way, other citizens have also sent me messages that they also bought bags of maize for 300 Ghana. So not always this in 450. So the prices range.
So I don't know.
Yes, so we need to create a picture.
The fertilizer itself, they said it was not what you are talking about.
Yes,
one fertilizer can give you 8 bags. So if you apply one fertilizer, then give you 8 bags. So what is the what's the logic?
So that you see, we all want to build a good nation. We don't want skewed statistics. You see the knowledge prosecutor. I see I've supported you that citizens are even attacking.
But you're not a farmer. You're not a farmer.
Yes.
You don't have a maize farm.
I get your point. I think we've proceeded on that.
Got a new argument that one fertilizer bag will yield what? 8 bags. So why would you come in? By then, my key thing is that citizens say some places you get maize for 300 Ghana.
Thank you.
So it's not one.
The point well made on the matter of
and then so let me just land on the. So reverse burden, I know Adam will come and the rest. So please, let's sanitize the system. Let's sanitize the system. Otherwise, the anger. Look, when I, what do you call it? The last time, in the course of the week, the Attorney General did a press conference on Wednesday, right? Thursday, when we were doing interviews, some lawyers called me. They were very angry about it. That's how come now Attorney General says you present all cases to the court, except that me, I'm also begging. You know, to every rule, there's an exception. You can't send every case to court because you see, Zaato mentioned it. Some of the people, because they are very wealthy, if they offer you that, look, we want to bring back the money, even with interest, etc., you don't take it. When you go into court, the array of lawyers they will get, good lawyers will get adjournment. Remember this law we are saying we should stipulate times. It doesn't appear we can do it in less than 3 months. Because we are yet to even get more citizens to push government, whole of society approach. So even effectively, it can take more than 6 months, etc. And it may even take, like I'm saying, more. So we don't have that in the bag. Yes. So if somebody would come today, say, okay, this case, I want to pay plus interest, etc. Look, Dr. Ine, let's take it. You can't take every case to court. The oral cases, you can't present all to court within 4 years. You can't.
Recoveries.
Yes,
that was the anchor of your work.
Yes, some of them we have to recover. Yes, they do 4-1. Let me quickly put this in context. They do 4-1 that they 60-40. Remember, there's an Attorney General's opinion where Godfred himself said Akufo Addo and Ofori Atta were engaged in illegality in the revocation of the Unibank license. You know, we have it on this, what do you call it here? We can read. The last time we read it, right? Yes. Akufo Addo and Ofori Atta were said to be engaged in illegality. The Deputy Attorney General at the time, and he was told to write an opinion. And he said the setting up of CBG was illegal, giving business operating permit within 1 day, etc. And even the revocation, the main thing, revoking the Unibank license was illegal. That's not what the Special Deposit Act, Banking and Special Deposit Act says. No, it's not the first option. It was totally wrong, very egregious. So in such a case, how are you going to prosecute and win? Let's not forget, that's the same thing Godfred did in the Ato Forson ambulance trial, where the Dubai company said, we want to pay. Their first offer was about 2 million euros.
Yes.
Godfred take this money. Then no. Who has asked them? We will not take that money.
The big C, yeah?
The big C. Not knowing, Godfred he himself said it on tape that actually the reason he was continuing with the trial was a political persecution, a witch hunt that Akufo Addo and Ofori Atta had asked him to get Ato Forson convicted by hook or by crook. By hook or by crook. And then in the end, we all came up short because we got nothing. Because such unethical conduct, the courts cannot sanction that, etc. Right? Yes, so once we see that to every rule there's an exception, I think Dr. Ayini should reconsider that position that every case will enter court. It will come back to haunt us.
Thanks for watching. Like and share the video. You can also drop your comment. Please don't forget to subscribe. Click on the bell to turn on the notification.